Our next guest is Congressman Bill Huizenga, who we haven't talked to in a little bit of time, but he's here this morning to catch up on a few things. Congressman, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing, Steve?
I'm doing well. How have you been?
We're doing all right.
Pretty busy, I see. You know, a couple of things I want to ask you about. I know that you've struck an alliance that I guess when I first saw it, I was maybe raised an eyebrow, but not shocking too bad. You and Gary Peters working on some legislation together that going to work for Michigan residents. Tell us a little bit about your alliance with Gary Peters on a couple of these things.
Yeah, I've known Gary actually since I served in the state legislature, and as you can imagine, campaigns make for some awkward moments.
Yeah,
and I did not support him for senator. He's well aware of that. But at the end of the day, I've got a job, and he's got a job for the next 6 years, and we looked at this and said, look, this is something that's good for Michigan. It's good for our workers. It's good for American taxpayers.
And what we're
overall.
talking about here is remanufacturing auto parts and then putting them back into government vehicles and so forth, saving the government taxpayers, you and I, a ton of money. But also, like you said, putting Michigan people to work, just so people know what we're talking about.
Yeah, sorry, I was gonna get to that too, but yes, it's absolutely right. What it is this is a bill that would allow for, and frankly, that's the problem right now. It's not even allowed for to have remanufactured parts be put back into government vehicles. And I own a sand and gravel operation, small little operation, third generation. And we do this all the time. If you've got a truck that's having a bad transmission, you don't have to go out and buy a brand new one. You can get a rebuilt one. You can go in and get recap tires. You can go in and get a lot of different things that go into engines or go into the drivetrain and that kind of thing. And that's not allowed. Go figure with the federal government. And we said, hey, look, this makes a lot of sense. We have a lot of remanufacturing that happens here in Michigan, kind of throughout Michigan, and we looked at it and said, look, this makes a lot of sense.
A way to get some people back to work. All right. Next, I don't have a lot of time this morning, so I got to run through the laundry list here, Congressman. Gary Peters has put forth a proposal supporting this Fort Custer assembly point for a missile defense system here in Michigan. Not quite in your area, but not too far away either. What do you think of that whole plan?
You know, I have not explored that enough, but I think it's great to acknowledge the fact that we need to have a missile defense system. Israel has used this with an Iron Dome and a number of other things like that, and it's good to develop that.
I guess I was surprised that, and I'll be honest, I didn't support Gary Peters either. I guess we're on the same page there for the election, but now he's our senator.
I'm betting if he listened to your show, he's not that surprised either.
He's probably shocked, but we keep inviting him to come here. He just doesn't come, Bill. I don't get it. It's weird to me. Anyhow, but I think that I was surprised that it's a Democrat, of any Democrat, supporting a missile defense system after all the things that have been said about Ronald Reagan and everything since, as far as Republicans go. Now, one of the things that I've been doing some reading on, and you've talked about for a long time, and I want to get to here for the last 2 or 3 minutes, is this whole deal with the Fed. You think the Fed should be more open? You think the Fed should be out and let people see what's going on with our money and how it's being controlled? You've written pieces for Forbes magazine. You did that last year. It's still one of the things that's out front for you, Congressman. Why so concerned about this?
Well, because I think it's about transparency and what we've been seeing happening with our money system. And I know this is something that you've talked about extensively in the past as well. What has happened under monetary policy has been not all good and questionable. And I think that when decisions are being made that are affecting and influencing not just our economy, but frankly a world economy, there ought to be some openness and transparency about it. And it's simple things. And we're going to be coming out with a bill again to reform how exactly the Federal Reserve operates. And, I just believe in general with government, the more open, honest, transparent everyone is about the decisions that are being made, it's good for society. It's good for everybody, and we're hoping that we're going to be able to move the Fed along. This is a group that's very shrouded and doesn't like to discuss its actions out in the public much.
Well, and again, for people that don't understand, the Fed is not an arm of the federal government. It's just called the Federal Reserve, which is probably a good cloak and dagger cover since, I believe, 1913 when it was first established. So it's just over 100 years. And it is very shadowy, and it always has been. But it'll dictate, what interest rates are, how money moves, how the banking system works. And you're right, Congressman. A lot of it's behind closed doors.
Virtually. Well, it wasn't that long ago that they never issued press releases. They finally have started moving a bit in that direction, but they still won't share a lot of things that I believe they should with us as representatives who are charged with oversight of them. They certainly aren't willing to open up their books to let everybody take a look at this. So I would anticipate that you're going to see some more audit the Fed type pieces of legislation coming out. And then there's just some other elements of just how often, frankly, the Fed chairman comes up and testifies in front of Congress. It's twice a year. I think that ought to be quarterly at least. And that's been labeled as draconian. It's like, no, to me, that's just openness.
That's common sense.
That's a good
idea. I think that is. Okay, here it is, the lightning round. You get 5 seconds to answer one question.
All right.
You ready? And then, because then we're out of time. What is the number one issue facing voters in 2016 when we go to the polls?
I still believe it's going to be the economy and jobs.
There you have it. Everybody, it's Congressman Bill Huizenga. Congressman, always a pleasure, my friend. Have to have you back sometime soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Steve.